I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Mary, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Hello there, beautiful souls. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. Hi, this is Michele, and you have clicked into Awakenings with Michele Mary. Welcome, everyone getting in the chat. You're going to hear me in the background getting my my matcha latte. I'm doing a matcha latte. Hello, who is that? Oh, Sunray. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Okay, really excited for today's live stream for our guests coming on later. And oh yeah, getting my matcha, Sunray. I'm late. Oh, getting my matcha just because. Well, anyway, we'll get into that. So lots to talk about, lots to share, a little bit about shaping your reality and reality bumps instead of bites, reality bumps that you might be experiencing. I know I just had one where old views, old world, old cues kind of bump in. Anyway, if you're new to this live stream and podcast, please do subscribe, share, pass it along, do the downloads, do the things. Join also on Patreon as well. You can connect there as well. Our guest will be coming on around 12:30, 12:40 or so. So anyway, while I get my matcha latte. Anyway, you can also connect through Patreon, Soul Path Awakening, Soul Awakening there, Soul Insights and Tarot. And then also, hello, Sunray. All the places and spaces. I just sent you an invite. Okay. Hello, Owen. Good to see you. Wendy, Cindy, Maru. Wonderful. Is Maria in the chat? Okay. Good to see everyone. Getting cozy, comfy in. So I will be answering some questions. I wanted to dive in a bit today. I've been doing a little posting on this. I've been talking about the soul 20 plus years, 25, 20, 30 years. it's explode and awakening. You're just seeing the verbiage everywhere and so many people awakening. And you can even see the types of guests that we're getting. Because before it was people that were already, Wayne Dyer, Lynn McTaggart, other people that were already definitely in this field. But now you're seeing more of the mainstream world, mainstream media, people within corporations are stepping away from corporations. So we really are in that third wave of New World group of servers as well, that this is going to be more mainstream. And, I always say that tongue in cheek, and you guys have heard me talk about this, that it's not that many of us weren't living this way. It was just that it was fringe. We're talking about bringing these, not only ideals or concepts or principles, but truisms, really, maxims into mainstream world, school, education. I have some clients that work in medical fields, some that work in government. They're bringing those seeds. So we've been doing a lot of seeding. So you're going to see, like next 8 to 10 years is very critical, a lot of sprouting of those seeds. You're seeing little sprouts right now, but I would say sprouts to budding coming up. So we have to remember that this, and it's not just about us, it's about what, I love that term legacy. What are we leaving behind? Because we do create by what has happened before. That's why ancestral work is so powerful, and not just your ancestors that you perceive, quote unquote blood relatives, which I never understood that, because we're interconnected by vibrational frequency. You can travel, all the way around the world, away from your family of origin, and you'll get the same stuff, the same patterning, the same issues or love or understanding, connection, because, we incarnate or morph into soul groups. And if you are on this planet at a particular time, you have a certain complex of vibrational frequencies and resonance and interest. And so, we are all interconnected. And so that ancestor work is so powerful, like who's come before. And as a therapist, I would say not just people focus a lot on the less life enhancing, or denser emotions of shadow work, like wounding and anger. But part of our shadow is our gifts. Because the shadow is just what you haven't seen and integrated into your psyche, right? And personality and lived, so we're going to see a lot of people awakening and realizing, oh, I am gifted in that way as well. So and it's Pluto and Aquarius also. It's like the whole idea of more mentoring, less, not following in the old way of the pedestal, that old narrative. And that's why, in some of my predictions and visions, I was saying that you're going to see the fall of the celebrity, this idea of influencer and stars and, and you saw it in my predictions. I'll never forget this because I worked with a lot of people. I still do in the TV and film industry and studios. And I was predicting that there won't be soap operas anymore, very, very few. And, oh no, Michelle, it's just a writer's strike. No, this is reality. It's going to be real people. I go, like, real stories, real people. You're going to see reality taking off. And which is what happened, right? And then I predicted it's going to be from real people, and now see what's happening in the whole with YouTube and, each individual's world. And that is the soul coming through, because the soul wants to experience and express it. It's based on creativity and, creative solutions and mapping things out. So as this awakening happens more and more, and I say we're in the baby steps, because there still is a lot of, wounding that's being played out, and extremes of the polarity and victim consciousness. So you're seeing that play out, and through identity politics, or I'm a this, or it's got to be this type of woman that gets in politics, a black person, no, it's the white person that's doing this wrong, it's this and that, so those are all like lower level. But the next level, you're really going to see people coming together, dropping that and going, okay, let's play. You might be a little different. I may not agree with you, but you're good in this area. What can we do together? So that's the part that we're moving into now, is that great gathering where we're getting the conversation going, keeping the conversation going, looking more at possibilities, moving more into that bridger and builder status. And again, as you're shifting individually, this is what's beautiful, is it's because we're all interconnected, and the universe responds to vibration, frequency, the energetics, right? So if you are really living more soul connected, soul aligned, attuned to your soul signature frequency, your soul matrix blueprint, the Akash, which just means the soul aspect of you, that's what you're beaming out as a transponder. That's what you're transmitting. And it makes your signal stronger. But on the energetic level, the etheric plane and astral, we connect with each other. Like, we're already connected. All of us are already connected that are having, that are here. And we're strengthening in our signal every time we connect, every time we gather. And then that's what's changing the world, not the protesting, not the fighting, not all of that stuff. That's just stuck in the extremes of the polarity plane. That's just playing out the duality. It's a necessary aspect because it does bring some level of awareness, but that's not where true change comes. And, even the psychoanalyst, psychologist Carl Jung talked about this. I studied Jungian dream therapy, and I always, this always hit me. And I never, there's so many of the things that he said that I so am aligned to. But one of the things he said is, we don't really solve problems, we outgrow them, or we get bored. And I have found that whether in myself or people I've worked with, most of our problems, yeah, sometimes we have to come up with a creative solution or an idea, but we get bored and we do something else, or we outgrow, like, oh, I'm just not doing that anymore. That doesn't bother me. Or yeah, I don't attract that kind of relationship. And, I don't know. And I'm not drawn to that anymore. So I think that's a very powerful testament and statement that shows the true creative power that we have. And once we understand that, we can even look at, instead of, problems or issues, we can look at, what do I need to create? I know that works with me when I get kind of depressed or down, or I feel like I'm hitting a wall, or just something melancholy. I'll write poetry usually, but anyway, or going a long walk on the beach, or a hike, or commune with nature. But anyway, I'll do something creative, or I'll do a reading. Sometimes reach out to someone, or someone calls me, and then boom, it's just gone. Or I'll just go explore. What am I doing? I'm not getting in my head. I'm not trying to get out of a state of being, a state of consciousness, a funk, I'm letting the energy do itself. I call that soul flow. We will course correct if we get out of our loop in our mind. Whatever's needed. Sometimes it is to go deep within and cry, or have grief, or whatever, lament something, and this is what more and more people are going to be doing or understanding, is that because you have your own internal timing, your own regulator, through this navigating principle of your higher self. That's the navigating principle of the soul, as the soul just being a design, a fractal, a geometrical design. It's vibrational. It's a frequency, that complex of frequencies that steps down in frequency, but to live your life, you have mental constructs around this: likes, dislike, preferences, passions, purpose, motivations. But at the core, we're energetic, and we all know that. We're vibrational. We know that from animal beings, especially our wonderful fur babies, dogs or cats. The telepathy, to be really telepathic, it starts first with the feeling, and then you get the image or the picture. So the image or the picture, and then the behavior or action is later in the chain. It all starts by sensing a feeling, a vibration. And so once we understand that, in movement or motion helps us click in to that flow. It's very healing, because in one level, it takes a lot to hold on to something. I had something this morning, and then Sunray, I'm going to get to you, but I had something this morning, and I thought, oh God, I rarely have something like, but I've got to share this. So I have this place I go to, I absolutely love, and I've been going through since the beginning. I'm not going to name names, but anyway, you guys have seen me post pictures of this place, but a little eatery, and it's not Zinke, which I love. This totally would not have happened there. But it got put in, I think, what is the magazine? Bon Appetit. I don't even, better than that. I don't know. Anyway, years and years ago, it's, there's owners own 2 restaurants, but having lived in Europe for as long as I did, I don't know if it's my Latina roots, there's just a certain vibe that I love of this place, and of course also the food. But yesterday I had one heck of a day. I went there, I got some bits, and it's not cheap, by the way. It's pricey because it's very now shishi, and it's like long lines to get in. So you got to get it at a certain time, the fresh bread, the this, that. So I got a bunch of stuff, and then I'm like, oh my God, I worked all day, clients, did videos, got some videos coming for you guys, Friday and then Monday. And I thought, oh my God, I got that Caesar, I'm going to have that. And I go, and it's all wilty, and it looked like it had been half eaten. So I don't know if it wilted so much that it looked like there was less in there, or it was somebody given, like it was somebody ate there and then said, oh, I'll take the rest home. I don't know what. And I was like, oh my God, okay. And they close at 4. So I had to go this morning, and had to go around a certain time because they only do, lunch starting at a certain time. And the woman was so rude. And I'm like, oh God, you're one of these entitled, oh God. And I said, look, I think I've been going there 17 years, however long it opened. And she, oh, do you have your receipt? I said, I never get a receipt. And I go, everybody knows me in here. Would I want to break up my day to come and bring this salad back? I go, but it's just, So she finally gave, and then she's, oh, well, we always put dressing on the salad. I said, no, you don't. When something's to go, you do not do that because it soggies everything. So I said a couple things. She said, I was miffy. So I was like, oh, gosh, okay. I had to say something, because sometimes you just have to say something. So I went outside and then I came back in, and then guess what happened? This is why I didn't say more. I thought, okay, just get out of your own way. Guess what happens? They did the salad, and she told me they never do that. And I said, okay, all right, they did it to me. But anyway, so she goes back, gives me, and then another person comes, oh, hi, Michelle, you're here to get some. Oh, yeah, I tell the short version of the story. Oh, okay, let me see if it's done already. We're smiling. Usually I have such a great time going in there. So they hand me the salad, and it's wilty, but newly wilty. I'm like, where's the dressing? Oh, it should be in there. And I said, no, it's not in there. And the guy said, oh, the dressing's always on the side. And right in front of her, the dressing's always on the side. Everybody knows this, guy. When you get a to-go order. Common sense. And then she looks at me because she knew, oh my God, they did it to her again. And it's my mistake, because she swore to me and made me feel, tried to make me feel like 2 inches tall. That kind of thing sometimes people do when they're not well trained in service, open heart, restaurateur, and all that stuff. Like it was my fault, my problem. I made it up, and of course the dressing wouldn't have been there. And then a couple of the guys said, "Oh no, to-go orders, dressing's always on the side." So, and I told her, I said, you could have just said, "I'm so sorry this happened. Let me handle, take care of this." She said, "Well, I just asked you if you had your receipt." And I said, "Yeah, you asked me like 4 times." And I saw she wasn't getting it. And I looked at her and I said, "It's all good." And then I just put my hand out, and she just looked at me, and I put it out, and we shook hands. And I thought, I'm going to beam her with some light, because this chick is just like spinning, because I got it, back in the day. And I get it. I get it. I was like looking, I go, okay, I get it at your age. And I remember when I was modeling and acting, you're flying around the world, and or maybe you're an actress and you're now at the cool place to, managing or waitering, you know what I mean? And it's like, yes, but in the end of the day, it's about connection, and it's about service, and how can I help you? Or, hey, you're a human, I'm a human. What happened here? So she was kind of that she, and I hadn't been caught up in that in a while. But so I came home and I said, oh, I got to have a drink. So I opened my Olipop, my ginger lemon Olipop, put 2 dashes of Ensure Herbal Echinacea Golden Seal in there to give it a little more bitter taste. And I thought, at some point it is also the connection. Sometimes you have to say what you have to say, but then it's like, okay, let's just shift this. And I'm maybe it'll get it or not, but it'll be a pin somewhere in the higher self. But one of the things I notice it's happening as we're shaping our reality, and we're coming more from the soul signature frequency, and the soul, as we're aligning more of the soul, and there's more soul activation, we're having reality bumps, guys. Let me know in the chat or call in. Are you having, it's like old reality or old narrative, or like these little snags, these little tears, the little timeline, like, wow, I'm having this experience that I really I could say almost never to never have. What's going on? What's the glitch there? And that tends to happen when we're about to activate more on a soul level, more soul juice, like say, coming through, and a shift in timeline. Because one of the things to remember is a lot of what we manifest is like 3, 4, 5, at least years, sometimes way longer than that, because some things aren't about time, they're about timing, right? But sometimes what we're wanting to manifest or draw in, or the state of consciousness, or what we needed to work out. Like for me, instead of just saying, oh, it doesn't matter, or just holding a grudge. It's like, okay, say your piece, talk it out, and then give that person that chance. I gave her a chance, actually 2 to 3 times, to step up. She just couldn't do it. So I did it. I put the hand out, the olive leaf out. She couldn't do it as a, and I thought maybe it's age. And I said, no, I was 19 years old. I did hosting. I would never have done that. I would have said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Do you happen to have your receipt? But ultimately it's wounding. It's the heart. It's, are you open enough to kind of be expanded into the fullness of life in that moment? Like, what wants to come through you? So anyway, let me know in the chat or call in, like, are you having any of these, like, while you're shaping your reality or reshaping and answering more of that soul call, opening up? You might, if you get some little glitchies like this, it could even be glitchy with yourself, something coming back around, that it's okay. That means you're shifting and integrating something. It's not to too much attach, to it. More about the energy of it. Sunray, I see you. Hello.
Hi.
Have you had a glitch? How'd you like my little glitchy
I'm just
video?
laughing because I'm like, oh man. I'm like, okay, so Michelle is, and she also gets it too.
Oh
Like,
yeah, listen. I had a little fantasy while I was walking home. I mean, I did the handout, but I thought, oh, I should go on Yelp. I should do this. I should contact the owner. Bah, bah, bah. And then I thought, and I did take her name from someone else, but I actually won't. I'm going to just let it go. But I did have my,
let it go, Anna.
I did have my little internal moment while I was, processing and smiling. But yeah, it was, all good. But yeah,
Well, I
so
think that happens. It's a part of being human.
yeah.
Like, sometimes we forget once we're like just always floating, but going to just order a simple cup of coffee, or like you're saying, like in the serving industry, or like even in my own industry in law, like, oh man, it is, I can't help but laugh at some situations. It's
the
like,
wounding. I
can't
think I
do
talked about this
anything, but-
last live, some of the podcasts I've been on, and then I've seen the comment. We're such in a bubble with
Oh,
the
yes.
normal people that I'm around. The usual are just really heart-centered and open. And I'm not saying spiritual, but working through stuff, get angry, do whatever, but it's a whole different level of understanding of what's going on in the world. And that's one of the reasons I told, one of my assistants and the one that works, I said, okay, I will go back out and start doing, interviews again and talking. And because I'm like, the information that's out there. And unfortunately, I called out a lot of the spiritual they're so wackadoodle, they're so triggered themselves that they're caught in this back and forth ping pong duality, fighting, and and just talking about just nonsense, like the world would have been different if Kamala had gotten in. The whole world. I'm like, oh guys, calm down. No, it wouldn't have been. This is it's not.
We're here. We're meant to be here. There's a reason why we're here.
Well, there's a bigger plan. It's beyond
Yeah.
personalities. It's beyond, and the only way, and that's why I always say this is why I work in consciousness forever, is that the only way things change is that change in consciousness, and and believe me, next time I see her, I'll definitely give her the high five and cuddly eyes. I'll just, put it, oh yeah, that's what I do. I'll be like, it's like someone cuts me off and flips me off. I blow him a kiss. I'm like, okay, dude, that's, not so bad.
Yeah. I have this a little shaker that I have in my car that I got from a fair. It's like like walnut wood enclosed that fits in your palm, and there's like little beads inside.
Oh,
and when I shake it, kind of like a rattle, kind of like a baby with a rattle, I feel like it's like breaking up the energy, like every little rattle breaks up that kind of like gunk or energy. And it's
like
just
that.
a tool, right? So it's kind of like maybe in those moments that we're interacting with people, in the world like this person that you interacted with having like a tool, or like I think that's why we gravitate towards crystals and wearing those things around us, or having headbands for our crown chakra or to protect our energy. And like, but I mean, even
But
sometimes
every
protecting our energy doesn't always go so
well,
far, right?
the thing is, I had this conversation with a client a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, listen, you're still going to get everything every now and then. That's why if we think it's all about us, that makes us egocentric. It's like sometimes there's an accident, sometimes there's a whoop, sometimes whatever. So it's not always about us or our state of consciousness. And again, that's kind of a misnomer, like, and it's so 80s and 90s, by the way, maybe earlier, but it's so like, oh, if you got a cold, what's wrong with you? Oh, your vibration must have slipped. You got a cold, oh, flu, you got sick, da, da, da. It's not that simple. It's, we're simple beings, but we're also very complex it could be your dharma, it could be where you're learning, it could be healing, it could be just there's just so many layers and levels. And I think as we connect more on a soul level, we'll understand that it's not either or, it's both. And it's not, there's not like just one formula or one reason why something's happening or not happening. There's such a blend, and some parts we'll never know. They're beyond our, lower level conscious reason. But Sunray, how are you, and what's up with you?
I'm doing great, and it's like crazy. It's wild. I just moved into my new place over the weekend.
Oh, you did? You moved?
Yeah.
Wow.
Finally got a place. I'm officially out of the city.
I know you'd wanted to do that, right? To be out of the city. Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
So now I'm out, and man, talk about, people just kind of testing you, or even myself, like through this move, a lot of things have come up where I'm like, kind of like that moment that you had at the cafe.
Yeah.
But no one else like is involved but myself. Like, oh my gosh, like,
well, there's
kind
a
of
lot
seeing
of
old
oppositional
versions of myself that are coming up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say old version. There's oppositional energy. I think sometimes we have this overlay on the phone, and also the integration, these different parts of ourselves that are integrating energetically and kind of releasing. But also there's a lot of right now, it even shows in the astrology, there's just a lot of oppositional energy. I mean, some people were calling it, I was doing this one talk, and they were saying that it's like, they were being, what do you call it? Like a psychic attack, or, a hex. And I'm like, well, you could term it that way. But the thing is, if you go beyond even those definitions, the universe does this when you have old energy coming in. It's like a climate, when you have the warm air coming into the cold air. That's what's happening right now. We have a lot that is trying to get maintained, whether within ourselves and stabilized, or in the world, in the universe, people holding on. That the energy is doing that. It's trying to hold on while the new stuff is coming in. And I would say for that, even like what I did with that lady, is it's not just to let things go. It's not just, you've got to find what's the balance. It's going to be different for different people, depending on what you're learning to do. Like if you never say anything, or never say what's right for you, or don't connect, then that would be you speak up. If you're always saying, oh, well, I think, and you and this, then maybe it's time that you just process within. So
That's interesting you say that.
Yes.
Because I feel like, and aside from our conversations here, but like kind of my balance and my gifts, being able to explore that, and then just where I share my energy to be able to fund those gifts.
Yep.
But tonight I have an opportunity to go to an ecstatic dance that the organization is having me do tarot readings there, and it's going to be my first time. I think the last time I ever offered tarot readings to people was during the pandemic, and I don't know if you remember this, but I had that moment where two Christian ladies came up to me and were very upset with me offering tarot to people in public.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember this?
I do not. not. But wait a minute. I just got the flash of it. Yes.
This was maybe in
Yeah.
2022 or 2023. I decided to go out. I just lost my job, and I decided to lay out my cards in like our public space area in the city, and two individuals came up to me. It seemed like they wanted to get a reading from me, but then they're like, yeah, we once used to be tarot readers, but we found Jesus, and now we've decided that this is not the right thing. So I was like, and I was kind of stuck because I was trying to like do something else. I was on a different timeline. They were on a different timeline. But anyway, so now it's like, this is a dream of mine to be able to do readings for people. And I'm getting that opportunity to do that today.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I think it's so perfect that you're stepping into this.
Yes,
walking
I am.
into it. And I totally, now with what did they put that on? Did they ask you to do the reading and then they all of a sudden had a change in their life of religion? Or was this just different people?
Are you asking about the experience last time or today?
Last time. I didn't
Yeah, I think they were just trying to do their missionary or their mission.
Oh, they weren't part of the group, whatever you were doing. They just happened to show up.
Yeah, I was in a public space. It's called Pioneer Square in Portland, Oregon, which is like our common area in the central city downtown area. And it's where there's a lot of people. It's kind of like Times Square, but of Portland. So I just laid out, in the public site. I can't move, or I guess I can move, but, I'd already set out my table and had my decorations and had a sign up. And so it looked like they were interested, but I think they were more interested in sharing their experience religiously, and which I appreciate and love and care for them about that. And I think that's amazing that they're sharing that with people. But I was trying to make, I was trying to not sit there and be convinced to follow them. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely does. Yeah. Oh, I totally understand. Yeah, I think I told when I modeled, I used to run that. I'd have my tarot cards and have a little travel altar, and the model, especially when I was based sometimes in the South for a job, like at Macy's or something, they'd be like, ask him of the devil. But later we'd have these conversations. And at the time I was studying religion, so I had the facts, the figure, I'd come up with things, and they'd have to think, and they'd go, God, I guess you're okay. You're not the devil, But at first it'd be like, we don't know if we want her in the apartment because she's a tarot reader. My reputation preceded me of being into the esoteric or the occult. But yeah, I think when that happens, I don't know, on a kind of a psychic level, etheric meaning psychic meaning the soul in Latin, I think it kind of is like some interesting swap of energy. Something's balancing out there, I think.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right? I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. They're like, okay, it's like salt and pepper. We're, sometimes gotta have some pepper along with the salt to give people some options, and we're just doing our part. And
and I found a lot of times they just believed because they didn't know anything else, and they were doing what they told. They didn't really do a lot of research, or Bible or religions. But anyway, so I think that's great. So you're going to step more into your gifts, is what I'm hearing, which I think is perfect. I think that is so cool for you right now. I think that's beautiful.
Michelle.
I think it's time. I think you're, it's to share what you see and feel, your wisdom, and being on the path for quite a while, and still on the path, and bring that healing energy. So thanks for sharing that. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to share.
No, that's it. I think right now that's it. I'm excited to hear the guest and learn more about the Akash. I remember learning about that actually around that time when that moment happened. I had learned that the information is available to us always. We return to the information
Yes.
of things and the form of life that we come from. So I'm excited to hear more about what the guest has to share.
Yeah.
And thank
And
you
that it's
for everything. I'm very thankful for this space and opportunity to really be myself and express myself. Michelle, you really allow that to happen, and you hold so much space for that. So for that, I am thankful.
well, thank you for showing up and sharing you, just you, your insights, but just your light by coming here. It's yeah. And I say that also all of you in the chat and listening later. Hi Maria, I just thought I saw you. She just got in the chat. Yeah, it just bumps up our frequency more. It's great to connect and to share. And I hope when you have this event, when is it now that you're doing it? It's coming up.
Tonight.
Oh, tonight. Oh, I thought this week. Okay, tonight.
But
Well, I hope you'll
yeah, all around this move. So I'm
oh
not
my
like,
God, all of
it's
it.
been
That's
so wild. I'm like trying to breathe through all this and not freak out. So
it's but what a outward, what a reflection, right? An out picturing of your shift in awareness that you did the move and you moved outside the city more where you wanted to be, and now you're doing the tarot, which you really wanted to do.
yes, and at work I received my annual review just literally around the same time that this offer came outside, and I had a really great meeting with my manager, and a lot of the things that you've described and provided as advice was also reflected in that review, and the advice given to me from my manager. It's a lot of the advice that you've shared with me, and also aligns with where we're at in our world. So I was like, wow. I'm like, I'm really seeing this confirmation, and just feel really grateful for a lot of the growth that I've experienced, the new person I am version as well, and seeing others grow alongside as well is something to behold, of witness to.
Beautiful. Wow. Well, you called it in.
Thank
So
you. Yes,
clap, really, that's an affirmation to you. Because when we hear different things from different sources, that's our higher self orchestrating. That's us. The truth. We're putting that in alignment, right? That navigator of the soul. So when you have hearing multiple things support, that's such a high level of support. It's like, I love that saying, I got you. It's like God, the consciousness, your soul, higher self is saying, I got you. I got you. Oh, Sunray, that's beautiful. All right. You take good care. All right, radiant souls. Oh, right. We have our guest coming on, Mary Madeiras. Her book is The Akashic Way, Living Through the Lens of the Akashic Records practitioner, three-time Emmy Award-winning TV director, and of course, author. Welcome, Mary.
Hi. Nice to be here.
Oh, nice to connect with you. Wonderful. So, well, let's get a little bit of the background. Let's see how this ties in. Of course, I kind of have not exactly the same, but similar, bringing it in. So I love how people combine their spiritual path or practice or their understanding of the world and their spiritual connection, soul connection into what they're doing. So I definitely want to dive into that a bit as well. Now, are you still directing and doing all that? I don't know if you write as well or you direct.
I do. Yeah.
You do.
Yes, I'm actually, screenwriting, and I am attached to some projects as a director. So they're film projects. So we know those always take a long time.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, in fact, my work in the records has informed my other work in really beautiful ways. So so the answer is yes, and I love that you were mentioning way earlier about soap operas, going off the air, because I worked on 7 of them in New York and LA, and when I started, there were 15 soap operas on, And when I left the soap opera land, which was from General Hospital, we'll say today, there's 4, but there are really 3 on network. That's how many have
That's
gone off.
it.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember Luke and Laura.
Luke and Laura are beautiful people.
Oh,
They're like one of my favorite actors of
Mm.
all the actors I've worked with. Yeah.
Some
Beautiful,
of the best
beautiful.
actor. Yeah, well, it's interesting, and I wanted to, this may be kind of interesting too from your perspective with also the Akashic, because I was looking the other day at some of the predictions and visions I've had, and what that was one of them. The other one was people starting to trade. It was like, because I was working with a lot of stockbrokers, and I saw that everyday people would be trading by computer. And let me tell you, I got heckled. If you've ever been around
Really?
triple type A, stockbrokers, trader, that'll never happen. What? And then it's like E-Trade and all that. But you know what, Mary? I looked and I thought, okay, I got to look at this more, maybe bring it up with somebody that comes on the live stream. There's been this trajectory all along, even with the soap opera, the reality, the celebrity influenced the whole idea of influencer, even now makeup getting more, normal, even though everybody's still having life-changing facelifts and everything that, but there is this something, and certain people like not totally on their phone as much or wanting to connect back in, IRL in real life, this. But
Yeah.
even with the technology, I'm wondering if you have any thought on that. Like it seems to, it's really right after the harmonic convergence. I would say like the mid 90s, maybe 96, 97, maybe around that. There seemed to be this kind of shift that something new, what's that lovely saying? You don't see things until you look back. What is it? The dots. I know Steve Jobs said it in a speech. Something seems to be shifting and creating a new picture, new film, a new movie. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, with the records, what I get through, living and breathing so much in the Akashic realm itself, and what I've been hearing throughout the years is that the planet is expanding. This group understands this. I can, because I was listening from the beginning here, and I don't know you all, but we all understand that there's an expansion happening, and even the records go like, whether you like it or not, it's happening. Gaia is expanding, right? And consciousness has been raising, which is why that saying the veil has been getting thinner. It's easier to hear, I'll just say, beyond third dimension, whatever we're listening to. And so I think, so that's happening. The other thing that I have been hearing from Divine is that they talk a lot, especially it's in my book, about the ego, the trickery of the ego. Now, Eckhart Tolle delves into this a lot, and the records refer to him as an ascended master, which I totally understand. I resonate with that. And the ego is really, it's a trickster. And, the fear that people are, that looks like it's running rampant on the planet right now. I say looks like, because really what is true is light. That's it. There is no evil. There is no darkness.
Yeah.
Abraham Hicks says you don't walk in a room and turn on the dark switch, which I love. I find that so funny. There is no dark switch, right?
Yeah.
There's only light. And everything else is a manufacture. It's a manufacturing from the ego. And in the case of today, the collective ego conscious, which is what Eckhart refers to. And what I got clarity on about this is that the ego doesn't really exist. This is trippy. There's been such trippy stuff coming from the records that I just thought, let me just dump it in this book and it'll just start conversations all over the place. But one thing is that this ego is not real, because it is formed from, as an energy, from actions, thoughts, actions that come from not knowing when I say divine, I mean source, creator, universe, whatever we want to call it, God, right? But when we don't know we're light, then the actions that we take are not of light. Generally, they're not. And so that energy moves into a space of non-light. We'll call it non-light because our language, words are limiting. So now we have non-light building up. And I've frequently been shown this image of a balloon filling up. And every time somebody is not knowing their light, they just don't know they are great, basically, because we all are that. And so when we don't know that, then we're kind of like weebles bouncing around, and and that energy builds.
Yes.
And that energy, I've been shown a balloon that expands. If you pop that balloon, which is the manufactured ego, there was nothing really in it. Yeah, we could say air, but really we don't see anything. So what's been happening, late for the last, I don't even know when it might have begun, but you just mentioned the harmonic convergence, right? I think you're probably right. I think it's, we're not going to see it because it's a slow expansion.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
and so,
what I agree.
Right.
Because when I looked back, I thought, ooh, I could see other little, what do you want to call it? Like demarcations. I could see other little kind of pivot points. And I thought, whoa, this has really been happening.
Yes.
Bit by bit.
And Greg Braden talks about our times in a really, my God, he's so wonderful. His books, wow. But Greg Braden talks about the history. Yeah, oh, that's great. Yeah. That the because he studies patterns, which is great, and that resonates with a lot of people. I know you, Michele, too. I don't need to see patterns and have proof. I just can know and feel, and I'm like, that's enough for me. But anyway, so he measures patterns, right, as we know. And what he has to, and I think it's the turning point. I think that's 2 or 3 books back for him. He talks about historically 3 things that mankind would do at major critical points in history, like the disappearing of the dinosaurs. And one is put blinders on, like it doesn't exist. Number 2, panic and turn back and say, we got to recreate what was behind us. And then the third thing is adaptation. Yeah. And that's where I believe we are now, where we choose, we have to keep our eye on what's going on. There's also, the records refer to it as a 911 call from divine for us to put on our light warrior outfits. And I'm shown frequently the golden sword of Archangel Michael. And it's like, we can't just sit in a corner or sit on mountaintops and meditate, although that will help, but we're kind of past that. Yeah. And right now I keep hearing that we have to get ourselves into alignment, however that it's different for each one of us. We have to be in alignment, keep our eye on what's going on. We have to. And then create that new, go around it. Around it.
Yes. Mary, I've been getting the same message that from the guides. Yeah, the same, that because we're bridgers and builders, and we came back to do this.
Yes.
To adapt, to bridge, build, innovate, and not to get pulled off into, right, what seems to be, and I love what you said, seems to be going on, because that disruption, the dismantling, but there's always the building simultaneously, even if we look at patterns. By the way, I want to confirm something for you, because I think it was around 2011. I also work with a spiritual hierarchy. They told me that the ego, as we become more intuitive, more psychic, and more telepathic, eventually, and as the soul subsumes the personality, the ego personality, where it's now seamless. Because as a therapist, I look the ego as a mental construct, and it's tied in with the limbic and the medulla oblongata, the reptilian brain. It's based on what has happened before. It's to maintain and stabilize. But it makes so much. Well, anyway, what I was shown and told was we won't have the ego function.
That's right. That's exactly
right?
It's in my book.
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay.
Because and the way that the records sort of convey this is and they've shown me this, that there will, we hear the word unity, consciousness gets tossed around a lot, but there will be no duality, no duality, no dark, light, shadow. How many millions of books have been written about, you got to get to the shadow and know your shadow and all that. And the records are like, that's not the future.
Right?
And they also say that that's how we began.
Yeah.
So we're not going to some newly created future. We're actually returning to how we were how we first came onto this planet, speaking telepathically, not needing to eat flesh of each other and other things.
Yeah, I'm
This is what
finding
they
that
show me.
too. People
Yeah.
eating less food, needing less
Yes.
food, and certain things just not resonating. Yeah,
Yes.
but the eating less food, right?
That's
that
right,
is
because we didn't need
trippy.
to eat the way we eat now. And what I heard was that we were living, we were nurtured off of the energy of the planets, the stars, and Gaia herself.
So I'm
That is,
wondering, as you say
excuse
that,
me.
as the veils, which are just that vibrational frequency and
Mhm.
density, as that's dissolving, I'm wondering, do you think we're getting maybe then more nutrients? Like there's less filtering, so we're getting more nutrients from the, you know, the etheric, the Gaia,
Well,
the
I
earth.
actually think we get the nutrients by knowing that we have them. Do you know, like
Okay.
it's like, you know, you know,
Oh, I see what I
you
get.
think it, because this
Yeah.
is quantum. And
Yeah.
so you think it, and it is so.
Yeah.
And that is how we were. That's how we began, and that's where we're going. So no ego. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I get.
You
Wow,
know,
that is such a freeing thought.
that's reminding me of something that happened to me the other day and I actually was hungry because I hadn't eaten. And I'm not
Hmm.
against food. I love good food. I just want to put that out there. Anybody listening
Yeah,
later.
right. Me too.
Right.
Hmm.
But what happened was, because what you just said something, it sparked something. And I was feeling really fulfilled in that moment. I'd met with a friend, and some other things had happened, and then I thought to eat, and I was fulfilled. I was filled up from that
Hmm.
experience, that I was no longer hungry.
Yep, I've had that
You
experience.
have? Okay.
Yes, and also when I'm in extreme, like, joy, like, let me just say divine, not physical joy, because the
Mhm.
physical joy, like, where we worked, the television, the entertainment, and you'd have a great day and a great show, and it would be like, let's go out and have wine,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That's different. But there's another kind of, like, high, I want to say, for me, when I'm working in this realm that is just washing anyone I'm with, the clients, me, with this love. And I'm not hungry.
Yeah, it's
I'm just
true.
not hungry.
That is, yeah,
Very cool. Very
that's
cool.
very cool. Yeah, so I do feel so. I'm glad you're having some similar experiences. The same. It's very confirming. And
For me
it
too.
yeah, it just shows kind of where we're at, and even the ego. Actually, having studied a therapist, a counselor, and I was like, don't give the ego a bad rap. But then as I started thinking, well, it's just a function, but you don't need that function when you're streaming clear consciousness, when you're in that constant state of
It
becoming.
can't live in it.
No, it
The
can't.
ego cannot exist
No,
in
it
that
cannot.
space you just described. Not possible.
Not
Because where
possible.
there is love, there cannot be ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's
Well, in
one.
that protection, there's no separate. I don't quite. I mean, we can differ on that because I
Yeah.
don't subscribe to that. There's love and fear. I just because I see love as fear is a natural, not human emotion. But I think it's
Mhm.
that not being separate or having to protect, and also ego. If I said this the other day to a client, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're right, Michelle," and I'm like, "I know. I've been thinking about this." I go, the ego only knows what you've done before. It doesn't know what's coming or even the present. It only knows, like you're driving, you're on autopilot. That's the ego because you already learned it. It only knows what was successful in the past or what saved us or what we did in the past. So I want to jump in this a little bit with you because it sounds like we're going to be like we have all this streaming. Now we're streaming right now. We've been streaming. But we're just going to be streaming consciousness because consciousness, if we don't disrupt it with the ego, prefab, prepackaged stuff, right? Like, oh, now I have to do this. I have to do condition response patterns. If we don't prepackage, then we're kind of just in this flow state of perception and information coming through, light energy. It's not disrupted. It seems like the ego disrupts that flow. I don't know what your thought of that is.
Well, actually, to go one layer deeper, it's the perception of it that disrupts it, that allows the disruption. When I say perceive it, I don't mean we sit going, oh, that's my ego. I mean, Eckhart would laugh about that, but when we perceive it, and we know when the ego's at work. I mean, and so, but when we perceive it, it gives it life, because what it fears is its own demise. So, and there's another part to this, that when you were talking about, what is driving when we're talking to somebody in the car, but we're also driving. I will jump over to Dr. Bruce Lipton, who talks about subconscious patterns. This comes up all the time.
Another great, he's been on this podcast a few times too.
I adore him. Adore him.
Yes, I love him. The creator, the imaginal cells. Oh my God.
He is just amazing. What a gift to us.
Yeah.
And so he talks about subconscious patterns that, developing, that the subconscious, and what I love also about him is that he'll say, what's the meaning of this? And it's science, because he's a science guy, well, biology, but that from third trimester to about 7-ish years old is when the subconscious is forming itself, and it's just a blank slate. And all it does is like, da, 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 da. It just records everything. It's not a judger. It doesn't know good or bad or anything. It's just record. So what is that recording? It's recording how you were being treated, the idea of love or no love, what's going on all around us, right? Then what he emphasizes is the fact that then, after it's formed, it runs 96 or 7% of our behavior from the background.
Yeah.
Yes. And we don't, and some people go, oh, I would know it. No, your conscious is not aware of it until you then, well, like when I first heard this, I went back in my life and I went, oh my God, no wonder this pattern kept going and I couldn't figure it out. Yeah. But then when I looked at it, I realized I had some subconscious patterns. They could also be from past lives, because we know energy doesn't die and DNA is energy. So we're always in the now and always have been. It's trippy. But so that who's driving the car? It may be our subconscious that is driving the car as well.
Yeah.
So,
I know I had years ago, because I'm a hypnotherapist. I had a client and recalled we did regression therapy. She did a soul retrieval, but we went back in the womb. Mary, he remembered, and he was able to ask his mom. She was quite elderly, but she obviously was a birth. She remembered. He remembered the doctor, and he remembered the smell. The doctor ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich during the birth. And it came up because we were doing doing some deep emotional repatterning and healing. He asked his mom, and his mom at first said, there's no way you could know that or remember that. You were just getting born. And he said, well, how would I just come out with that out of the blue? Which is true. You don't just come up with the doctor ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
No, he had a memory, a cellular memory. Yeah.
And she admitted it finally. She said, yeah, he took a break. And she even said it made her so nauseous. I can't imagine, eating,
wow.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought that's why being able to, go into these different realms, unconscious, subconscious, and because we can change our pattern or patterning.
Absolutely.
I call them overlays, template. It's like it's not our soul patterning. It's not our soul design. It's like these overlays on top that kind of block or dim that geometrical pattern or shape that we are. But yeah, it's very powerful. To your point, the subconscious totally. Another thing I found fascinating in one of my courses in counseling, and this was in a book too, so it was interesting. We're reading it, but most people get married. Speaking of subconscious, their emotional development state is between 2 and 5.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
There are all these unmet needs that get played out. They get filed subconsciously, and they just get played out. And that's why I think working with consciousness and deeper healing and understanding is so powerful, especially right now.
Yes,
Um, one of
absolutely.
one of the things I also wanted to ask you, because I like how you have living through the lens, and I think that's of the Akashic. If you want to dive into a bit of that, because I think that's so powerful, because you're not talking about just going back and healing or
No.
clearing or getting memory. You're actually saying it's possible to live this way or live through this lens.
Yes, it really is. So, because once we learn certain things about the reality of not just consciousness, but what's beyond third dimension, I'll say it that way, I guess, it becomes more than a tool. You can put it in action. Like you don't have to always run to your records to get, like some people have to run to books to find out how to do, number 1 through 6 of whatever that person was saying. But
Right.
what my own experience was through the years when I was studying the records at the with Linda Howe, who has the Center for Akashic Studies. All we were doing we were opening our own records and working with each other as students over and over. So why were we opening our records? Because we were healing and dealing with our own stuckness, our own questions, which is what all the clients want. And so because her point was, you don't want to be a practitioner and you're out there and you've got some unresolved something, and that person comes to a reading and it's, and it triggers something. So I learned through my own process what it means to live through the lens of the Akashic Records, which is why I called it that. So here's what the idea is: when we take, I'll call it an Akashic perspective on an issue, something that's troubling us or making us stuck, we can then turn that situation into an opportunity. It happens 100% of the time when I'm working with people. So somebody will come and say, I'm tired of this, or I'm stuck, or I don't know what I want to do. Or affirmation. I'm feeling like this is the right path, but I just need a nudge. Is this the right thing? The records don't come in and go yes or no, like a bearded man in the clouds that a lot of us grew up with, right? Yeah, I know. I never believed that, but the records never do that. And if I ever heard a message like that, I would know I'm not in the Akashic Records. But what happens is, as we dialogue inside the light of who we are, because the records are that individual soul imprint, that blueprint of everything that soul has thought, seen, and experienced from lifetime to lifetime. It all is etched right in there, right? So just the permission to do it, the intention to do it, and for me, a sacred prayer where I shift my I'll say my vibration from an ordinary consciousness to a divine consciousness. I'll put it that way. So as that starts to happen, when we're dialoguing back and forth around whatever that person's concerns or need for affirmations are, it's like this light begins to wash over. It's just this very subtle yet palpable thing that happens. And as the records are asking through me the client questions, and they're answering their own questions, they begin to remember. This is about remembering. There's nothing new. I once had a psychiatrist as one of my clients is a child psychiatrist, and it was so adorable what she said, but she kind of looked at me and said, you're not telling me anything I don't already know. And she said it that way. And I was like, and I waited for what the records would say, and they went, yes.
Yeah. That's why I say a good reading should always bring some kind of aha or confirmation. If it's so you should be able to say, oh, I've been thinking that. Right?
Right? You know what, I love that you said that, because the common phrase that I hear is, the records will say something, I hear blocks of thought that are not mine, and I'll say it, might be a phrase or something, and then common phrase, the person will go, well, now it's really interesting that you just said that, because, and then boom, things start to open, or that's really ironic because, right? So that's how it happens. And what is that's occurring? It's remembering. And it's a very deep kind of resonance remembering. It's not like, oh, I just remembered where I hid my keys. It's not that. It's different. It's just really like you remember why you chose to be here. And in the records, there are two things that are going on. One is fixed, meaning the soul chooses, I like to call it an overarching theme. Like self-love, let's say, they choose to come into a lifetime, but how they express that choice, or how they express that, the choice that they originally made is up to them. It's up to all of us. We have that freedom, right? We can or can't do it. But what happens is if we're not expressing our original choice, again, I like to emphasize choosing. No one's giving us, we're not on the other side and they go, do you want to sign this contract or not? No, it's not that at all.
Yeah.
So when
Thank you for saying that, because
Yeah.
I've been so like, no, over the years, no, you're not in this horrible toxic relationship because you signed a contract to
Right.
work through this. This is
No.
subconscious patterning. So yeah,
Yep.
it's great
Yep.
that you said that.
And it always, those events always 100% of the time feed into and have a they turn into assets that feed into the soul's original chosen journey. That's the new thing for me, because I followed, my gosh, I probably did what everybody here was doing. I went to Abraham Hicks all over the place, and I still love them. Eckhart Tolle, read all of that. Paramahansa Yogananda, the usual suspects. I was going through them all, the Greg Bradens and everybody. And once I was really drawn to my own records. I know that's how it happened. And once I started entering this record realm and was hearing, I realized also that what's etched in my records is for me to be doing this. This is my journey. This is part of my journey, which is why it's easy. It flows. And that's another thing that is a sign. When things are easy, that's usually what we're here to engage in and do, part of what we're here to do. We all grew up, a lot of us, with no pain, no gain. And it's like, no, that's not true.
Again, ego.
That is ego.
Ego.
Yes.
Sunray had put in the chat, remembrance. We're remembering. So that tied in with what you were saying. Let's talk a little bit about that. The hearing that, I kind of thought that, like, how to hear that voice. I'm sure you talk about it in your book, because if you said living from this lens, this is a message, and Mary, you'll appreciate this. In my working with my guides, I came up with so many things. I'm going to have a channel. I'm going to do this. And the guides just, no, teach people how to connect to their own intuition, their own inner. Yeah. I'm like, what? You don't want me out there? Oh, I predicted that. No, teach people how to. So yeah, I listen though.
Oh, I have a good one. I have a good one that's exactly like that.
Tell me.
Okay. So what it was this, you're going to laugh about this. So when I was opening my own records before I began, having clients, one day, now I was a working director, television director, right? In the Directors Guild, the whole thing.
Yeah. And Emmy Award-winning. That's not easy to do.
Emmy Award.
I
worked at CBS News for 10 years, NBC Sports, the Olympic, talk shows, all that. So here I am. That's how I see myself. I'm in my records, and and I'm at my computer and I'm writing down my questions and then listening and hearing. And my records said, Mary, your records show you a writer. And I began to argue with my records. I mean, how silly is this? I was writing back going, no, I'm not. I'm a director. And the record said, I heard it. It was a very, very beautiful, almost like a quantum whisper. Well, what's etched here is that you're a writer, Mary. And when you do it, because I was like, I'm not a writer. And they said, when you engage in this, it will be so easy that you will question it. And we are here. The light energies we all have these light energies that oversee each one of our Akashic records. So my light energies were saying, and we will be with you every step of the way. So I didn't think about it after that reading. I just sort of forgot about it. Still was trying to get, jobs in television and all of that. And I was in between. And all of a sudden, I thought, I'm just going to, it's like opening your hands. I just surrender, whatever. I had this really nice whatever energy. No sooner did I do that, I got a call from some colleagues, and one colleague, and she asked, they wanted me to write a screenplay based on the untold story of Mary Magdalene, which I brought into a modern storyline like the Da Vinci Code. But anyway, it came to me and I went, oh crap, I don't know how to do this.
Wow.
And then you're going to love this. I'm sitting there going, oh wow. So, and they were going to pay me and everything. So I didn't say no, but what I did was, I sat with it and got scared. And then I thought, I don't know the formula, the format. How am I going to write a screenplay? And then I remembered that I had taken in both LA and New York at least 4 times Robert McKee's writing workshops. He's like the guru, the global guru of writing. 4 times. And I thought during those times, during those years that I was taking those workshops, because it would make me a better director.
Oh, that's why interesting.
So I already, in fact, there was his book Story, which is a fabulous book. It's and in his workshops are producers, writers, obviously writers, producers, actors, all sorts of people are go to his workshops, and he's notorious for having Oscar winners come out of his workshops. Anyway, there was his book sitting on my shelf, and I was like, oh my God, I've already read this. I already know this. I forgot I knew it. It was right there.
So
that's another example of the Akashic Records when when we see something and we go, no, no, that's not me.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting too is that you got asked to do this, and I'm taking it you hadn't written anything before.
I had been writing, no, not anything of that
right
caliber, I'll say that. But no, I actually had been working on a teen series that I'm pitching right now, a teen sci-fi, but I had been working on that for like 6 years. So I was just tooling around with that, but no, it wasn't complete and all, now it's all complete and being pitched. But no, I certainly hadn't written a film. And
so it sounds like in your Akashic, you got to a certain point, that turning point where you're blending in what you studied or trained at what you did before.
Yes.
And what about Akashic film, something documentary or something, Mary? Because you're going to have to blend even more next level, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm funny about documentaries. It's just me. I think they preach to the choirs.
That's
so
true.
It's true because
do you remember a Celestine Prophecy?
Oh,
yes. The Alchemist.
Yes.
Maybe something like that that's based on the Akashic.
I'm really I get off on, I'll say in a really positive way, and have fun with imagination. And speaking of imagination, I had said to my records one time in the beginning, I was doubting, who am I to be able to hear this? And so I took it to my records. I take everything into my records. And I asked, is this for real? Is this real or is this my imagination? I was expecting to hear, no, Mary, it's real. And their answer was, no, this is your imagination, because that is the greatest aspect of humans. The best way, the imagination has no boundaries, no limits. It is wide open, right? So it's easier for non-physical, certainly, to come through imagination. I mean, look at the works of, look at Harry Potter. Yeah. I mean, that flowed into her, right?
Yeah.
Or E.T., which is really about love, not about an E.T. at all. So,
The Hobbit, which I loved.
Yes, The Hobbit is
Harry
wonderful.
Potter, The Hobbit. I want to go. Yeah, The Hobbit.
I know. So that's what I lose time over. I get ideas, and but after, another thing that's interesting is after I said yes to the screenwriting, I began when I heard "We're Here with You." I was hearing Mary Magdalene, by the way. I'm here with you. I was like, cool, right? And I'm like, cool, this is cool. And I wasn't talking to people about it. And I got awakened one night at 3 a.m. and I just my eyes opened and I started to see, I was watching a film, this storyline. And it was a modern storyline about a handsome oil rig worker. I know nothing about oil rigs. I don't like them, whatever. And I said to myself, I'll just write this down in the morning. And I heard, nope, get up and write it.
Yeah.
And I did. And I went into my office, turned on the light. It was 3:30 something. And I wrote the storyline, and it's become a very main storyline. I'll just say that in this screenplay. So, and also I can't give away the end of it because it's pretty profound what happens. singles out the Vatican. It brings sex trafficking into the picture. It's about a nun. It's about the discovery of an ancient manuscript, which is Mary Magdalene's writings, and that the Vatican's been hiding a duplicate of it in the vault, where Mary talks about she actually healed Jesus because she came from the lineage of Isis. So this stuff was coming through. It's based on a book that was written. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's an adaptation of sorts. And so when I was writing, in particular, the very end, which is the end changes history. I'll just say that. But all of a sudden, I remember it was like an Easter Sunday and I was home alone and I'm writing this like glorious scene. And again, modern storyline. Main character is a nun, actually. And all of a sudden, like my whole body, I felt something come in and I started sobbing. And I'm writing on my keyboard with just tears coming out. And at one point, I just said out loud, "Mary, is this you?" And I felt her moving through me. Yeah. So
the story has to be told. That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah.
And so, and she's been coming through a lot of people. This isn't just this
No,
case.
I know. I was going to say the timing, some of the stuff that you've touched on, I've heard before, but I love what you're saying because I so get it. The way to get things into plus it's fun to watch things like this, but to get more into the mainstream, to alter the trajectory, to bring that information in, you really do need to do it in this way, because
you're using what I think I just was born into knowing this. You, but at least for me, use what people are vibing.
Yeah.
What are people into? What's the hot thing out there? So on the surface, it's a story about this and that and this and that and bad guys and blah, blah, blah. But then at the end of the day, that's what Spielberg does.
Oh, totally.
But then at the end of the day, we come away and we're sobbing when we come out of the theater. And it's like, but wait, it was about an ET.
Yeah.
Well, no.
We were it does something in the collective consciousness that it plants that seed.
Yes.
For next level. Now, do you think I think I kind of already know the answer, but I want to hear you say it, that in a way we're conduits for this. Like you're a conduit, like for the next level, what's happening, the evolution, the awakening, bringing this kind of information, like living through the lens of the Akashic.
Yes. And here's another interesting thing. And I don't know if it's true for you and anyone who's on here with us, is that it's never, sometimes I'll get this question like, what was that defining moment? You went from there to there. And you didn't ask that. Thank you for that. But it isn't that. It's
never one moment, right?
Never. I remember being little and first of all, I was always attracted to Gregorian chant. Who is attracted to Gregorian chant, really? And I went on to college to major in music. And so, I'm not running around performing, but it informs everything I do. So what was that? Well, I found out that I had a past life as a cloistered nun. So there are all these things tied together. I always had in me this idea of mirroring through me and my love of people, who people are. I used to do it with the actors. They would do better scenes, not by me telling them as a director what to do. I would allow them to shine their own light, their own craft. And I didn't have to do anything. It was a natural thing. I didn't realize I was doing that until years later when I began to work in the Akashic realm. So we always have it.
Yeah. And I think, and tying back a little to the ego or conditioning, especially when you're, I don't know, junior, senior in college, and when you go to university, they definitely also usually right before, and then when you're there, especially if you want to change your major, this idea that you are one thing or the other. Right? And the soul is this blending. It's like, oh yeah, it's going to take the singing, the music, the writing, the directing, it's taking your spiritual connection, your knowledge of it's going to bring it all together. It's going to weave it all together. It's not going to be just one thing.
No, it never is. I call it a tool. It becomes a toolkit, because another perception that a lot of us have grown up with is, oh, you went and studied that. Now you're not doing that. Oh, and then you went over here and did this.
Exactly.
Or, jack of all trades, master of none. It's like, no, that's a good thing, because when we take all that into the records will show somebody who is having that, maybe they have a judger in them, You talked about Carl Jung. I love Carl Jung.
Right? Oh,
Yes,
amazing.
like, oh my God. But it's like, so there could be this judger, and the records will sort of bring out all of those things that you thought, well, I was a plumber 20 years ago, now I'm a lawyer. Well, you maybe it fits in always, and it becomes tools in a toolkit that it becomes assets. Actually, those are the words they use. And that's fun. That's a new way of thinking. So we never feel like we've wasted any part of our lives.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that gets out more, because there's still a lot of that, you study this, now you're this, you can't be that. And,
shame.
Shame around. I used to get told, people would, not a lot, but I think I had 2 or 3 people one time say to me, you must be confusing. You must get, and I'm like, what? And they're like, because you do so much, or how could you be this or model, and now I go, because I go, it's not confusing. I go, I like it. It's interesting. I'm not confused about me, by the way. But yeah,
good for you.
Right? This narrative of you have to stay with this one thing, or you're this only one thing. And I think it stops some people from actually sometimes exploring, because it's like, well, how can I do this? I didn't do this before. Right.
Oh, I'm going to do yet another thing. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying very gently when I'm introduced anywhere. People tend to, or hosts, not you, thank God, but they'll tend to, like, you were over here doing that. What made you leave there to go do this? And I have to always sort of gently go, I didn't leave it. They're informing each other. They play into each other, because they're asked. Another example is, I grew up with a bully father, bully brother, a lot of, like, a really rough, I mean, a lot of us did, childhood.
Yeah.
And it has my family is who I thank in the book, because I learned resilience, which is why it was easy for me when I did live television. Nothing scared me. Live television in news in New York was like, it's like hell. Yeah. But you could toss anything at me, and I was the calm one. The crew loved that, because they're like, you don't get all crazy. And I went, no. Why? Because I didn't realize this, but I had already had my, in quotes, training, but I learned resilience by being bullied. And there's where something that could be interpreted and held on to as trauma that we're stuck in. When I learned that the bullies were what gave me this power, I was like, well, gee, it doesn't feel like it owns me, and there's no victimhood. It just goes away.
Oh, I love that you say that. I had not the bullying, but I remember going through things that people would say, oh, I can't believe that happened to you, Michele. Sometimes we talk and I go, well, yeah, I don't wear it.
Right.
I went through an experience. I had something, but that's not
you
me.
Transmuted it, probably. Yeah. It becomes power. And that's the thing. Our perceived, and I'm using the word perceived, but our perceived trauma, because it could be perceived by those around us. And that perceived trauma, when we look at it as energy, this is how we get freed from it. Energy. So the energy of it, perfect example is I have a client who he is now a shaman and a radio host, but he was explaining in his Akashic Records in a reading that he was an awful person, and he felt shamed about it. He was awful. And the records were like, what? Why? Oh, I hated people. I used to yell at homeless people. I was just really bad. I was a creep. And the records asked, what was the energy of that part of you that was out there running around yelling and cursing at people? He goes, really effing powerful. And so then the next thing that came was, what if you took that power and, like a hose, opened it up and ran it right through shaman you? The energy of it, the power of it, not what you did. Wow. And he sat back in his seat and he went, oh, shit, is what he said. Oh my God. Okay. So that's what we can do with everything that we have gone through, to look at it. And that's another example of looking at things in our lives through the lens of the Akashic realm, because the Akashic realm is an endless infinity of love and no judgment, the 3 constants of not constant, but the three main factors of the records are fear not, judge not, resist not. There's no judgment in the records.
No. Well, that's how you know when you're getting into more expanded vibrational frequency.
Yes.
Consciousness. You're not in the ping pong of the judgment. It just is. It's, and on some level meant to be, because
I agree. Yep.
Yeah. But you know what? I could so feel what you were saying about him. It's like it's the alchemical process of reclaiming and integrating that energy instead of judging it, which would leave it to some degree a little walled off or separate or something interesting like that. I don't know. I could feel like it, until he kind of brought it through. I don't know.
Well, until he looked at it as energy instead of actions. And that's the trick. I don't mean to say trick, but that is the freeing part.
Right.
And I, when I was first working in this field, the records field, I had to really close my eyes and really the things that I was still maybe angry about with my family, whatever. I had to really sit with it when the records were suggesting identify the energy. So to really to separate out the energy of something like disempowerment energy, what is that like? Or being shut down in some way, which could be rapes, it could be all sorts of stuff, physically being abused, whatever. But if we separate the energy out, and it doesn't, and the records always say, divine is not invalidating any pain you may have experienced as a human being. Mm-hmm. That's very, very important, because sometimes people go, will you tell me not to feel anything? No. Not at all. But we're like looking at it like it's like a Rubik's cube, or maybe more like a crystal ball. And if you could just see it like a hologram, if we all could just see our lives as a hologram, it would be great, because you can see through it, and you're not, and the things in the hologram are not attached to you. And that's how trauma, well, in this case, we're talking about trauma, but events in our lives, if we look at the energy of those events, it's so freeing. It's like looking at a film that you're not stuck in.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's big key, is you're not stuck like in that film, that role, that things are mutable. You go, move around, change the scene, get into a different film, move around.
Absolutely.
Now, does your book, so living this way or living through the lens, and is it, when you're saying lens, is it like the perception or lens, are you looking at that literal, like how do I see myself this way in my life? And then is there,
I think it's all of it.
All of it. Okay.
I think it's everything. I think it's like, when you do look through a lens and you see more clearly, it's metaphorical. It kind of works for it. The word works for it all. And it, that title just popped in.
Yeah.
And it's like, when that happens too, it's like something just pops in and you don't even have time for your mind or your ego to kind of come in and go, now, wait a minute. Is this right? That's what happened. And I got it when I saw it. I was like, that's a pretty broad, it encompasses a lot. I'll just say that. Yeah. And it all works.
Well, I like it because you also have living.
Yes.
And that, I think, is ding, 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 the key that, the little gong goes off, that it's living through this, which implies not just the perception of it or understanding or realization, but what are my actions from this?
Well, it's living, right? Ultimately, it's living through your higher self, because that is what the records are. And also the records are a living, breathing essence. They're quantum. It's quantum. So it shifts and moves. Like the record said,
saying that too. Yeah. People it used to be, it's like, it's mutable. You can, you can shift it.
It shifts, and it always meets us where we are, which is interesting. And quite some time ago, I heard from the records, they said, when you reread, well, for me, I was writing the readings. When you reread readings, they will literally change. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. So I swear I will go back. Well, when I open the book, my own book here that has all these downloads from the realm, I will go like, holy moly, I don't remember this. It's brand new. And what the records were saying, they were drawing an analogy. Well, what it's like, sacred tomes. So if you really if you're near the scrolls, or if you've ever been near sacred places, whatever, there's something, you feel something. Well, what is that? It's that it's still alive. It's an alive essence. And that is probably truth. and truth and the essence of truth. And that's what the records are. So it's a living, breathing essence. I've had people write me after a year and they'll say, I just listened to my record because I record them for people. I listened to my reading over a year ago and OMG, I can't believe it. It's like I just had it now. And I'm like, I love hearing that, because that's not that I need evidence, but boy, is that not evidence that this is a living, breathing essence of source itself.
Yeah. And living, breathing consciousness. And then it's like
Yeah.
the observer principle, by us looking at it and or making changes, that changes.
It changes.
Yeah.
Yes. Changes with us. Yep.
Changes with us. I love that. Yeah,
Yep. Me too. I love that.
One thing I love too, and talking with you, this comes up again. I'm reminded of this, and I think it's so important for especially people newly on the path, that we do update information. Just like science does, biology, anything, diet, the food pyramid. Because I think sometimes people can get very stuck, especially on the spiritual path or working with certain teachers, or that this is it. Like back in the day, it was like the Akashic Records, this is like etched in stone. This is what you're meant to do.
Right.
But right now, the understanding, what you're sharing. I remember back in the day, people used to say, oh, if you do energy work or healing, we had to wash our hands up to, the hands and up to the elbow, cut off the energy, put white light around it. And then it's like
burn sage.
Yeah, burn sage. Exactly. It's like those things, right? Yeah, it can be fun, but it's like, oh no, it's consciousness. It's just a vibrational frequency.
It just is. It's it's what Eckhart talks about when he talks about being in the now, and there's the now, and then a minute later it's another now. It's now. It's always now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm finding that more and more freeing to kind of settle into. And then I don't have to think about what was past, what's future. What am I, it's like, there's something freeing about that like there is this, the records call life, or, well, they call divine, the all that isness of everything. And that title of that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that's really what they're talking about. Everything is everywhere all at once, all the time.
Yeah.
And there is no time, and we know that. It's trippy, but I don't know why it makes sense to me. It just does.
Yeah. Well, me as well. And I agree with you. It's less stressful. And it's like that streaming, when we realize we are this. I always think of the internet, like interwebs, or you for a better connection, you use the Ethernet, some people, all these kinds of things are just like training wheels, little guard and training wheels that, okay, Ethernet, we're connected etherically. I just see the metaphysical component. And the streaming, I think, okay, that's teaching people that we're streams of consciousness, light energy. We're just, and the more, which can sometimes, I know, be scary if you're not using the prefab form of the ego. It's like it's just coming through. You're not thinking, you're responding from the higher self, the soul.
Yes.
But I think it's, again, in the mainstream, where it's going to get more and more kind of everyday, or known, or lived through, as you say, living this way, which is very much the soul.
Yes. And I just hear how important it is for all of us that are doing this kind of, I'm not going to call it work, this kind of play. I keep hearing, be courageous about it. Keep going. Keep going and connect up. And that's another message I keep getting, that used to be that like light workers were off on their own doing different things, not in a bad way, but just, over there on the mountain in Tibet doing this, and they're doing that, and but what I hear is, no, please connect up. And that's what you're doing. You're doing it. Right. And I'm doing it by showing up right now and doing as many readings as I can do for people, because I just see what happens when people meet up with their higher selves. That ego cannot live there. It can't. It dismantles it. Yeah. So I also
think for you, you're talking as well. It's like the more people I think I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, and I've said it a few times on here because I've definitely noticed a, a difference of the information now that's out, what people are actually, living,
Mm-hmm.
and also coming more from the mainstream or corporate world, and then bringing that information back in there, or living it, not hiding, like letting people know, hey, I do this too, or I'm this too. So I just feel that the more that we can all talk and share, it's getting just more, I don't know,
It,
ensconced. It's just
it,
getting, it's getting more anchored, right?
Yes, it is. There's a good friend of mine who coined the phrase soul branding, and she was is a McKinsey grad, and was in that left brain, all male corporate, high end corporate global, and her soul was kind of drying up, and this was in the 90s. She created this, and she did a lot of soul work herself, and now her company is called Humanity Inc. She speaks on NPR. She's writes for the Wall Street Journal, but she has taken CEOs of very, very prominent companies. I mean, I think she might have even rebranded Coca-Cola years ago. And her idea is that if we can get the CEOs to tap into their own soul, it will filter down
Yeah.
through the entire company out into the products and service and to people. And so she's been doing that for years. And I can open, and I have done this. I've opened the Akashic Records of organizations with the CEO.
Ooh,
That's
love
amazing
that.
because companies began as an essence. I don't know if you know the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh,
And she talks about everything is out there as an essence, and it looks for its vibrational match, whether
yeah,
it's a painting, whether it's something
exactly.
you're writing, whatever it is, an invention. And so that's how, if a corporation exists, then it has an imprint in the Akashic realm. So I can open up the records with the CEO or founder, whoever. Even I've had one where 20 people were there from the company, and the essence of the company itself comes through, and it speaks its truth to those people. And especially the CEO who found it, or the founder, it reconnects them up with why they created it to begin with. It's very powerful.
Oh, I like that. Well,
Yeah.
to me, it also reminds me that, and again, it even shows in the astrology with Pluto and Aquarius, and I won't get all into that, but that the reminder that corporations are started by people.
Yes.
So, right? So if you connect to the people within the corporation with these, healing or awareness, let's call awareness modalities, I call consciousness modalities, then things are really going to change. And my sense is, as more and more people are awakening, they're seeing, oh my God, it's the people. Instead of blaming the system or the corporation or the company, it's like, well, there's people in there. There's people that comprise that.
Yeah.
Let's work with the people. Let's connect with the people.
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
And then
that could be the ego and a collective ego in action, what you just described. Like getting, putting the focus on the system versus that man or woman over there that is off, that's
you're
running one
right.
of the things in the system. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I
That's a
didn't
good
think of that
idea.
either, but I think you're probably right, because it also, when you do that, you're able to stay more kind of blame, shame, victim conscious. You
Yep.
stay in that polarity
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking at, I went on a podcast I don't know, it was about a month ago, and I was saying that some of what's going on is not malefic. I go, you guys try, yes, there's a cabal, there's this, that, yes, okay, fine. And some people misuse power. I go, you try navigating and organizing a city or a state or a country or the world. I go, you might be putting some things in place just for the main group also, what are the principles, the laws? I go, some of it comes from, how do we organize this, not just the people, but the structures within it. And therefore, I think you can kind of see with compassion, even the wounding narrative
Hmm.
through that power, invader dominator culture, that egoic wounding. You can see how that's come about. And again, I think for you, like what you said, working with the people,
Yeah.
if you can work with the individuals. Now, Mary, do you do group work also? I know you say you work with clients. Let's just share with us a little bit of how you work. Obviously, you have the book that people can read.
So, up until now, the now time, I've been doing one-on-one readings and writing, because I'm also writing other stuff.
Right.
But I'm hearing from my own records that I have to begin. I'm working out workshops.
Oh, that's so good. I was
So
going to say group would be
yeah, you
powerful
got
with
to hit
you.
on that. So thank you for that. That you just affirmed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm working that out. I did when I was, because I lived 20 years in California. I'm from New York originally, and I'm now in Asheville, but I was in Santa Barbara at Unity, and I was invited to speak about the records. And I just tried something really neat. I had the whole room open up their own records, and using I gave them the sacred prayer that I use, and they all had it in their hands. I printed it out, whatever. And it was very interesting to see who felt what, got what, who didn't get anything. So I think something was percolating there, and I think it's time for me to just go a little bit, bring it to a larger group of people. As far as like my teaching people how to, well, that's teaching. What I want to say is I resonate more with helping people themselves in larger groups navigate their own way in their life with their own Akashic records, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, totally. I could see
Right.
that and
And
feel that. Yeah.
yeah. And like the woman, the Linda Howe, who I studied with her center, she's teaching people how to be teachers. That's not me. No, I'm a people I'm a people person. So, I'm not, that's just not my thing. So, but to help people open their own records, absolutely guide them through that. But how to use their own records to make their lives better is what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, I love that
Thank
for
you for
you.
asking about that.
Yeah, I think it would be, I could just see, well, you've done it already a bit, but it's so powerful. And with your background and everything, I just think even the reframes, that how do you look at it this way? And just, I think people, two things will come up. I mean, obviously science and technology around medical, and we can go into all that, but definitely this whole idea of religion, religiosity, spirituality, but it has to be a working or practical spirituality and integrating the soul, because we are in the great soul awakening. It's all about the soul, all about the soul. So I think more people are really looking and going, okay, well, how can I actually use this in my life?
Yes.
Right? It's no
And
longer, I would say it's no longer about the weekend retreat, or, oh, I just had lunch and we had a wonderful brunch and talked about spirituality. It's like, no, you actually have to live this now.
no, that's right. And I use the word relatable. What makes me relatable, and I feel this about you, and I don't even know you that well, and I'm just sensing it. But what makes me relatable are two things. One is my upbringing. I came from a working class family, not wealthy, whatever. So no, we weren't struggling, but both parents worked and all that, but really working class. And so that brings me into, I'm rooted in this I'm rooted, right? And nothing surprises me. And so people feel, oh, she's like a regular person. And then the second thing is the entertainment part. I never knew, it's for some reason people find that interesting, and it lightens them up a little bit. It opens them up a little bit. So like that, and then add the whole spiritual part and my always knowing and having this connection to source. You put those three elements together, it's relatable. And I think that's what we need a lot more of. You're right. It's not about we're going to the guru and we're going to meditate for 4 hours. Like people, they're not going to do it. That's not the world we're in.
No. And so what you're sharing in your book speaks to that.
Yes.
As people, I think, realize, look, it's a different world. I have to do this differently. But right now, I mean, it's just starting, but really there's not enough really grounded material, and from people that are, kind of more relatable, believable, or have a kind of a more grounded, centered background. I think that's
Yeah.
really, important. I think a lot more people, I just had this conversation with a friend, or actually was a client. We're strategizing with her business and stuff on a soul level. But, I shared with her, I said, look, the people in general, the consumer, I go, even people that 10 years ago, or for sure 20 years ago, maybe didn't have the means for certain things, I go, they do now. They want that now. I go, people are much more educated.
Mm-hmm.
They may say, oh, I only have $100 a week for food, but I saw this, now I'm going to do healthier. I go, people are making informed decisions, and now the things that are out there in the world that are much more accessible. And I just think people have also grown up,
Well, and we're learning through, actually my next book on around the records is about the power of crisis, because I think we're learning as humans that we're way more powerful than anyone ever showed us.
Yeah. Ooh,
right?
I look forward to that one. Oh, that's going to
Well,
be another goodie.
that came about because the reason I moved to Asheville was because my father-in-law was dealing with who lived here was dealing with lung cancer, and he did die. So we left. We were living in Ojai in California, and we left and came here. Um, and what happened? Hurricane Helene, and it ripped through Asheville. So I heard it kind of whispers. I love these little quantum whispers, and I heard Mary offer free readings right now during this time. It was right after the hurricane hit, without water for like a month or so. I mean, it was really bad. Besides all the trees and the flooding and the pollution and everything, but I did. I joined Facebook groups fast, and I offered free readings to help people navigate through this from this perspective. So I got like a little under 50 people came in, and so I heard there's something that is going to evolve from this particular your experience with people in the Akashic Records and the crisis, this particular crisis. So that's where it began to be birthed.
That is interesting, and you've touched on this because one of the channelings I did in February, the guide said resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
People have to learn resiliency, and the other was adaptability. But when I looked up, because I went, sometimes when I receive messages, I go, okay, I know there's something, because I'm like, bounce back. I was talking to a friend, and she said, oh, the ability, yeah, you're resilient. I'm bounce back. I go, no, it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked, there's a meaning from physics that means the original shape or form doesn't get changed or marred or damaged by external.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Energies. I was thinking that, Mary, as the soul. I'm like, oh, so all this outer stuff, we have to be resilient, our soul shape, our soul design, soul matrix, to not be dented by the external, what's going on externally in the world. And you touched on it earlier, the belief, and that's the narrative. That's actually what's happening.
And the key to that recipe there is love. And we've seen it in act. I mean, I witnessed it because people came together here in the most remarkable ways. They didn't care what side anyone was on, or whether they were black, white, or gray, or green, and whatever. No one cared. Everyone just stepped in. That's love. That wasn't just you do the right thing. So that resilience that you're talking about, and then love together, nothing can conquer that.
Yeah. Love is that right human relationship, livelihood. You're doing what you really,
most powerful thing in the world.
Yeah.
The cosmos.
Beautiful. Mary, I have enjoyed this conversation with you so much.
Me too.
This has been very, not just uplifting, but really heart connecting. I really love what you
I feel that too, Michelle.
shared. Yeah.
It's really, I feel that.
Really do. We got people in the chat loving this show.
Good.
Yeah, we all have. Yes. So let people know where, because I looked, I'm not sure if you have a website.
I do.
Oh, you do. Okay. What if you let people know what, and I'll also put in the description, but your website, and then where the book is also available, because it's out now, right?
Yes, it launched about 2 weeks ago. It's on Amazon, And it's, the Akashic Way. Actually, all you have to do is just type in the Akashic Way on Amazon. The book will come up. And it's also offered in Kindle version. And my website is theakashicway.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And there's some like goodies on that website. Like I'm offering discounted readings for the holidays. So there's a page on the
nice.
website. You just tool around the website and see what you
Okay.
like. Yeah.
I see it. Holiday offers. Okay.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Wow. Okay. That's a nice holiday gift to give to someone and to give to yourself.
Yes, that's right.
Right? Yeah.
Or both.
Or both. Yes. Do both. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Oh, Mary. Okay. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and awareness and just your beautiful soul beingness. So appreciate you being here.
Well, you are so welcome. And I love what you're doing. Keep on going. That's what I got for you.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Because every now and then I have a little doubt.
I must have known that because of what I just said. And I'm here for you. Anytime you have a question, whatever you want to bounce off of me, I'm here. Okay. So just know that.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch for sure.
Good.
All right, Mary. Take good care. Keep shining bright. Thank you again.
I will. You're welcome. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Radiant Souls. Wow, what great insight and information. I love that it's living through the lens of the Akashic. That was the Akashic Way was the book we were talking about, living through the lens of the Akashic. Okay, all information will be in the description box once this gets edited and it'll go out in podcast. But if you want to re-listen to this now, the live stream will still be up and then it'll be edited for podcast. Thank you all for being here. I feel so much, not just gratitude, but appreciation for all of you and what you share, what you bring. Hi, Maria. Thank you for and I wish you all a beautiful Giving Thanks Day or Thanksgiving. Just no matter where you are in the world, it is a time just to just give thanks to yourself and each other, friends, family, whatever, however you spend it, or this upcoming weekend. I wish you all so much love, light, and wisdom. And let's get your friends, share this show, share the link, and not only have others join the conversation, but let's keep the conversation going.
I'm getting woke and staying woke. Awakenings broadcast every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.